So last week, I demonstrated a skincare routine, which was perfect to leave your skin dewy and hydrated throughout these upcoming winter months. Today, I'll be following along with that theme by demonstrating a bronzed and glowing full face makeup application. So I have all of my products in front of me, and I'm just gonna dive in and start prepping my skin. All right, so I'm going to start with moisturizing my face. My face is freshly cleaned, straight from the shower. So I have my Nourishing Moisture Cream here, and I'm going to apply some of this to my face. I like this moisturizer because it's not heavy. It still provides me with a great amount of moisture, but my face doesn't feel greasy and like there's a film over it. All right, so you always want to make sure you prep your skin, clean it, and moisturize well. So now I am going to prime my eyelids. So to do that, I'm going to use my concealer and a little bit of my eyeshadow primer. So I have my eyeshadow primer here. It's an Anastasia primer. And the reason I'm mixing the two together is because this primer is very light. It's really almost white, very cream, very beige looking. And that's going to be a little too intense for my lid. So I'm going to add a little bit of my concealer to this. And I like this concealer a lot. You'll see me use it later for under my eyes. It's so pretty. So I'm going to grab just a fluffy brush in here. And I'm going to mix them together and apply this to my lid. I see some people are following along, it looks like. I'm excited. If you are following along, be sure to take a before and after picture so you can see all the steps that you took and what your final face looks like. So I'm going to start on my lid. And the reason I'm jumping right into priming my lid is because I want my makeup to remain nice and glowy. And because of that, I want to give every layer on my skin a chance to really merge and sink in with my skin, so it can get all the moisture that it needs, just in case I need to do anything to fix it. Let me bring my mirror a little closer. Yes, that's better. Now you see it's even really light with my concealer mixed in. So I'm going to do both sides, and I'm covering the whole eye area. So from the lid, from the lash line, excuse me, inner to outer point of the eye, I'm just going back and forth, taking this product all the way to the brow. You want to make sure the whole eye area is covered with primer, which is why I prefer my primer to be about the same shade I am. This is a little light, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is use a little bit of a powder to go over top of this. So what I'm going to do is use a powder that's a little bit deeper than my complexion, and that'll help to tone some of this down. So I'm just going to use my finger to blend it in a little more. Okay. I'm going in with just a fluffy brush, like this here. And all of these brushes are in our Delium brush set. And everything I'm using is found on Blushington.com. And you can go and purchase all of the new products that we have available. And you can use my code BRIT10, excuse me, to get 10% off your purchases of $50 or more. So that really helped. I toned it down just a little. So this is the color powder I'm using. This is our Set Focus Hydrate powder from Jouer. So I'm using a little bit of this powder to go over my lid just to help calm down the brightness. But I always go over with a setting powder when I prime my eyes. Setting primer is going to remove any of the excess moisture so that all of your powder products will go on seamlessly and blend together effortlessly. All right. So now that my skin has had time to sit with my moisturizer on, I am going to go in with my primer for my face. Because again, I want to leave my skin nice and dewy and glowy, I am going to use a little bit of my Glow Cream from Herborian and a little bit of my Pink Perfect. So the Pink Perfect is a primer and the Glow Cream has priming abilities, but it's more to give you that effortless glow. That glow from within is what they like to call it. So I'm going to take some of my primer and put it on my hand. So what I'm going to do with these products is put them both in specific areas. And my Glow Cream. So I'm going to start with the primer. I'm going to go in with my foundation brush. And I'm just going to prime the areas that I get the oiliest. So for me, it's right here next to my nose, on top of my nose. My chin. So it kind of even mattifies me just a little bit. Let me get a little more. And my forehead. So these are all the areas where I usually end up having to blot throughout the day or give a little extra powder. So now I'm going to use the same brush. Going into my Glow Cream, I am just going to place this on the high points of the face, the places that I want to glow. So that would be up here, get a little more on my cheekbones. Like that. And then I'm going to put a little right here on my Cupid's bow. So I'm going to take my buffing brush and I'm just going to very gently press this Glow Cream into my skin. So it starts to kind of melt into your skin. It leaves behind this nice, healthy looking glow without you looking greasy or glittery. So it just lays a really great foundation for my glowy face. So now, again, I'm going to let these products sit on my face and I'm going to jump back into my eyes. And I'm going to use my eyeshadow palette from Anastasia, my Modern Renaissance palette. It's dirty because it's been getting good use and some love. So these are the colors that are in the palette. So I'm going to keep it really warm over here. And I'm also going to use this beautiful blush color. It's called Blush Copper from Becca. It's one of my favorites. And I'm going to put it on my eyes. So now that I have all my products on, I'm going to begin in my crease. So I'm going to go in with this fluffy brush here, very fluffy. And I'm going to start with this orange color. So if you're more fair skinned, to keep this warmth going, you might want to use a peach color. You don't want it to come off too orange. You want it to have just a nice flush, similar to a color you would use as your blush. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in my crease. Knock off the excess. And I'm just going to take this back and forth, really warming up my crease area. And I want to make sure that this is blended really well because this is my foundation. So after I take it back and forth in my crease, I'm also going to take this and blend it down to my lash line and up to the eyebrow so that there are no lines of demarcation, which are lines showing where color starts and stops. You should be able to wear as many colors as you want, and nobody should be able to count them all because they blend together so seamlessly. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Just going back and forth. Just focusing in my crease for now. Then after I've saturated my crease, really depositing the color here because this is where I want the highest concentration of color. Now I'm going to take it down to my lash line and up to my eyebrow. It's a little bit more on this side. All right. Next up, I'm going to use this chocolate brown color here in the same palette. It's called Cypress Umber. And as you can tell, I have hit pan, so it is my favorite color to use. I'm going to go in with my doe foot brush, getting my product here, tap off the excess. Hello, welcome. And I'm going to blend this on the outer corner of my eye. So I'm starting over here, and I'm just going to tap this onto the outer part of my eye, blending it in with the orange that I've already placed down. And I'm not wiping this color on, I'm just pressing this into my skin. So it's going to give me a little bit of definition on this outer part of my eye. Do the same thing to the other side. Like that, making sure they're looking even. Add a little more over here. All right, so I'm just blending this in really well. Just want to make sure that's beautifully blended. And then I'm going to go back in with my fluffy brush that I use the orange and just make sure there are no lines. Just like that. So now that I have that on, I'm going to grab my blush color. Really excited to use this. And I'm going to use this with my finger. The finger has natural oils. See, look at that. Isn't that pretty? The finger has natural oils, and so it's going to pick up the shimmer really beautifully to make sure that it has a great impact and it's going to be very vibrant, which is what we want for this bronzy, glowy look. So I'm going to look down, and I'm going to just press this starting on the inner corner. And I'm just pressing that in. Ooh, do you see that? Yes, that's beautiful. So I really want this color to be bright. So I'm just going to layer a little more on, and I'm just pressing, kind of tapping very gently over my lid. Just like that. Ooh, look at that. So I'm gonna go in with my fluffy brush. Hello, welcome. And I'm gonna take this back and forth, just blending that in together. Kind of just getting rid of any lines that I might have created. Really getting that shimmer to blend in. That's gorgeous. I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side, picking up the color on my finger. And I'm just going to press this into my lid. How are you doing over there, Alexis? I see you following along. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So I'm just gonna press this, tapping it over. same motion as the other side, really pressing it in there. I'm gonna add a little more. Again, I want this to be vibrant. And making sure they look even. I like to look down, kind of check both of them to make sure. It's all about balance. Then I'm gonna go in with my fluffy brush and just blend out those creases and those lines that I created. So I have a nice glowy looking eye. So it's a bronze effect. All right, so I'm going to put my foundation on now. So I am using my Becwa Aqua Luminous foundation. You have to shake it up a bit. And I like this foundation because my skin is a little dehydrated, and this is a water-based foundation, so it's going to give me not just great, beautiful, glowy coverage, but it's also going to give me some moisture. So again, going back in with my foundation brush, I have my product here on the back of my hand, and I'm going to, starting on the inside of my face, just start sweeping outward. I want the largest concentration of product always to be towards the center of my face, and then sweep it out towards my hairline. Hi, what color for fair skin? The foundation color? Oh, that's a good color. Is that what you're talking about? The concealer? I saw you hold up the product. I hope I was able to answer your question. I'm not sure what you mean by fair skin, but if you have a question about a certain complexion, I can help you with that. So I'm taking the foundation a little through my eyebrows. Yes, this copper, blushed copper would be really beautiful on more fair skin tones. It shows up a little more vibrant like that. So it'll have more of a copper feel to it, whereas mine has more of an orangey feel to it, but delivering beautiful effects. So I'm gonna take this down my chin, my jaw, to my neck, making sure that I'm blended. And I'm also going to go over my ear. You're welcome. So I'm really just brushing this into my skin, really making it blend in. Yes, very glowy. And because it's a water-based foundation and I started with my glow cream, you can see I still have this nice looking, excuse me, nice natural looking glow to me, so I won't look oily later. So now that I have my foundation on, I'm gonna go in with my concealer. So I'm gonna put my concealer under my eyes just to give me a little dimension and a little brightness. So I use two different color concealers from Jouer. I have amber and cappuccino. So I mix them together on my hand. My hand is my palette, as you can see. And I'm gonna grab my brush here, go into my product, blending them together on my hand with my brush, just like this. And I only want to use a little bit of concealer because the skin under the eye is very thin. So we want to keep it as light as possible so it doesn't look too cakey and too heavy. So I'm going to start just right here where it's the darkest and just gently tap over this area, taking it on the inner corner to really give some brightness to my eye. And I'm just going to press very gently and give myself a little bit of brightness down here on the cheek. Yes, like this. Looks nice. See, very natural looking. Ugh, I love this concealer. It's so great. And it doesn't crease, so I don't have to worry about putting a whole lot of powder under my eyes. It is amazing. So same thing on my other eye, just focusing where it's the deepest first. And then I'm going to take it into the inner corner just a little to keep that brightness. And I'm not taking this very close to my lash line, as you can see. Uh, Beauty blender for, oh, let me pull up the chat. It's not necessary that is not the only way, I should say, to achieve a flawless application or a flawless blend. As you can see, I haven't used one yet, and I've been using just these brushes here, my foundation brush, and this doe foot concealer brush. So the nice thing about this brush is it works great on powder, cream, liquid products. That's why it's one of my favorites. I also have this buffing brush that I like to use for my foundation to really get my concealer and my foundation to blend together, which is my next step. So as long as you have a great application technique, any brush or any sponge will work wonderful for you. And if you have pronounced circles, you still just want to focus where it's the deepest. So no matter how deep the under eye circle is, the darkness is usually at the very beginning of the depth or at the very top near the eye. So that's where you want to focus the color. If they're incredibly dark or you just have pronounced circles, oftentimes a color corrector can help. So I'm going to take my buffing brush and I'm going over my concealer, pressing it into my face and down my cheek to get it to marry with my foundation. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, starting with the concealer, taking it all the way down. This is going to ensure that I am blended all the way. So the brightness is still there, but you can't see where my concealer and foundation begin or end. So now that my foundation is on, just pressing my foundation into my skin, I'm going to go into my eyebrows. So I'm going to use my Kevin Aquan Brow Precision pencil in dark brunette. I like it because it's so thin, as I was showing you, so I can be very precise with my brow and not make it too full or too thick. And it has this beautiful little spoolie, and it's also tiny, which I like. So I'm going to begin by brushing my brows up. So I'm going to start under my brow in the front, and I'm going to very lightly, I like to call this kind of connecting the dots. I am following along my brow line to give it a kind of an illusion that I just got a wax. Then I'm going to blend that out a little bit and continue that same motion throughout the brow. I want to make sure when I get to my tail, I'm not taking it down towards my cheek. I'm taking it outward towards my hairline. If you take your brow down towards your cheek, it gives your face the illusion that it's kind of melting because it's bringing everything down. And we don't want that effect. We want to look snatched and youthful. So we want to take our eyebrows towards our hairline. So I'm going to brush through my brow, making sure everything is blended. And I'm going to do the same thing on the top of my brow. Just very gently, very lightly drawing a line, giving myself a little more definition, but keeping it natural. So I just want to add some fullness. And as you can see, you can still see a little bit of skin in my brow. Seeing a little bit of skin ensures, or gives the illusion, I should say, that the brow is natural. So I like to always have a little bit of skin peeking through, just like that. And I'm going to use my brow gel from Anastasia to hold those hairs in place. I like them up. I like the lifted look that it gives my face and my eye. And I want to keep it like that all day. So look at me from one side to the other. I look just like someone took a little string and just lifted me up over here. So I'm going to do the same to the other side. Give myself a little bit of a lifted brow. Brushing up. I'm going to do the same thing, drawing this line. Now, for those of you that may struggle more with your brows, we do offer a brow class. So you can sign up on Blushington.com and take a class that is focused just on how to build and fill in your perfect brow. So I'm just doing hair-like strokes through this brow. So this brow has a few more holes at the bottom. So I'm giving it a little more attention. But everything I'm doing with a very light, barely there touch. I can always add more product. It's harder to take the product down if you put too much in. So always start light with everything, with your foundation, application, start off with just a little bit. When you're putting on eyeshadow, start off with a very light color. If black looks very enticing to you, start with something a little lighter, maybe a deeper taupe, and see how you feel comfort-wise, because you can always make it darker. So on the top of my brow, I'm just giving a little more love here. But again, keeping it where you can still see my skin peeking through so that it looks natural. I'm going to go over this side with my brow gel also. I really enjoy brows. I just feel like they really help to elevate the face. Right, so now that I have my brows on, I'm going to finish my face. So finishing my face is sculpting my face. So I'm going to go in with bronzer to give me a little bit of warmth. And because this is a glowy, bronzy look, I'm going to use bronzer that has a little bit of a shimmer to it. So I'm going to start on my cheek towards my hairline, and I'm going to kind of just blend this over my cheek. So I'm going to use circle motions to make sure, again, everything is blended. Stopping on the outside corner of my eye. Don't want to take it down too far, but I really want to give myself some warmth. And as you can see, that glow I started with is still there. I haven't done a glow within type look in a while. This is fun. All right, so I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. I'm using my angled cheek brush, getting my product, knocking off the excess always so I don't have too much. Starting by my hairline on top of my cheek, I'm going to take this in circular motions, staying on the outside corner of my eye. Perfect. Nice and warm. Let me get this product off my hand because I know I'm going to get it in my hair eventually. I've done that so many times. How's it going, Alexis? Any questions? Anything you need any clarification on? No?
I just need the products. I'm like, well, I'll use this instead of that since I don't have that. But otherwise.
Well, yes. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm glad you're practicing. That's great. You're going to be ready to use those products as soon as they get there. And some of them are posted in the chat as well. So go ahead and look at the links for those products, and everything that I'm using will be there.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to now take the same bronzer and I'm going to take it across my forehead because I added warmth and glow to the cheeks, so I have to do the same thing to my forehead. So we blended and bronzed our forehead and our cheeks, so we have to add a little warmth to our jaw. Now I don't want to use shimmer on my jaw, so I'm going to go in with my matte bronzer. This is Jouer in Deep. Same brush, but I'm going to go in with a different bronzer. So I'm just going to wipe it off on my paper towel. Just to get off the last product. Then I'm going to go in with my matte bronzer. So we have to do this to create balance to the face. So I'm going to start behind my ear. Just bring it down my jaw. So at a profile, it's going to really give me a chiseled effect. Take it under the chin. Other side. And I'm just following along my jaw. So I'm going to blend that. Right. So now I'm going to go in with my blush. So for my blush, I am going to use my same orange from my eyeshadow palette. I'm going to go in with my blush brush. And I'm going to smile and I'm going to apply this to my cheeks, going towards my hairline upward. So I give myself a lifted look. So knocking off the excess, I'm going to smile and I'm going to take this and just put it on my cheek and take it upward, blending this in. Do the same. Thank you so much. Knock off the excess, do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to smile, take it in an upward motion to give myself a lifted look. So hitting the apple of my cheek and upward over the bronzer towards my hairline. So now I'm going to give myself a little more glow because that's what we're focusing on. So I'm going to go in with Tiger Lily and a little bit of my blushed copper. So they're both blushes from Becca. This one is a little coppery and this one's a little more orange. And I'm going to kind of layer them on my cheek to give a little more glow. So I'm going to use this doe foot brush here. It's just really big. And I'm going to press it into both of these colors. So a little into the Tiger Lily, a little into my blushed copper, knock off the excess, and just add some glow to my cheeks. And I'm going to blend it in with my blush brush. Oh, it's so pretty. Give myself a little extra glow. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so to finish off this look, I'm going to go in with my final little dose of glow. And I'm going to use my rose gold highlighter from Becca. It's one of my favorites. And I'm going to just apply that over the glow cream. So the glow cream I started with is about the same color as this rose gold. So they're going to play off of each other really beautifully. So I'm just going to apply that on top just to continue this glow. And I'm going to press it in a little with my finger. Oh, that's really pretty. Oh, yes. So same thing on this side. Following my bone, my cheekbone around. I'm also going to put a little bit of this glow, this highlighter down the bridge of my nose and on top of my Cupid's bow. So I'm going to do the Cupid's bow first, just taking it gently across to give a little extra and take it down just the center of my nose, just the very center of my bridge. And I'm going to press that in because I want glow. I just don't want it to be too intense. So now that I have that on, I'm going to do my lips. So I'm going to go in with my lip liner first because I just want to give myself nice definition because I'm only going to be using a gloss. So I'm going to take my pencil. I'm going to start at the bottom of my lip. And what I like to do to make my lips look like they're a little bigger, a little poutier without overdrawing them at the bottom, I'm going to just line the outer corners. The outer part of my lip here. On the top, I'm going to do, excuse me, on the top, I'm going to do all the way across. So I'm just going to use my finger, just kind of roll it in a little bit just to get rid of the harshness of the line, but keeping the definition. I'm going to go over with my, excuse me, my gloss. Oh no, I'm almost out. So this is a mauve type colored gloss. Fearless, mine I think came off, my name came off. So this is what it looks like here. And I'm going to put it on with my brush, my lip brush. So I'm going to use this to apply it. And what I'm going to do is focus this gloss right here on the center of my lip. And blend it across. So now I have a nice all over glow to my face. It's not too glittery, but it just looks like I've been sun-kissed, like I was somewhere on a beach during all of this fall. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Susan. Did anybody have any questions about this look or about their makeup application? Thank you so much. I appreciate you all for sticking in there with me and joining me today. You're welcome. Thank you. And if you don't have any questions for me, I will leave it open and we'll respond to any of your chat questions. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yes, please remember to use code BRIT10 with one T to get 10% off. I'm so glad you learned a lot. I hope to see all of you next week. I will be doing another Zoom class next week.